Hello, my wonderful internet friends. Welcome back. Today, I'm having a little bit of a flex. I hope you don't mind, but I'm pretty proud of this one. I managed to get my first 3 mark of excellence on a tier 10 tank the other day on the Object 140. Goes delightfully with the new skin, I'm sure you'll agree. And not to waffle on too much before we just jump into some games, I just wanted to talk about a few of the things that I've learned when I was remarking this. It took me 576 games. I'm a bit of a pleb, but I got there in the end, and that's the important thing. And getting there has taught me a few things about different decisions to make and so on, and ways just to generally improve your gameplay. And just to quickly highlight before, I think there's a bit of a stereotype about 3 marking with some people. They think that you have to sit back and not play with the team and farm damage and you're not helping. I don't think that's the case at all. Like you can't 3 mark, especially high tier tanks, by playing passively all game. You have to go and get the damage where it's available. You have to play careful, but that's not a bad thing, and it's something that I think more people should do. It can just generally improve your gameplay. So maybe it will help some people, maybe it won't. Maybe we can just watch a couple of games where I can farm some damage, which is a rarity, but why not show it off, right? So let's jump into the first game without much further ado, which I believe is on Minsk. Oh, terrible map, but anyway, let's go. Okay, here we are. Minsk, a horrible, horrible map. I'm sure most people will agree. I hate this map with a passion. But we do okay here, and I was going to make a video individually of this game, and I was going to title it, Don't Be Scared to Be a Coward, as backwards as that is. But the point I'm trying to make is, as you'll see in this game, sometimes you just have to get the hell out of a situation. I could waffle on about why for ages, but ultimately I think you can sum it up by saying that if you're going to die by staying in a fight, you're not going to be any help to your team. And especially if you're trying to mark tanks, like this is one of the main things that you have to do. Like probably one of the, some people might agree, like the number one tip to give a lot of people who are going for marks and maybe are not struggling to get them is you have to stay alive. You can't do damage if you're dead. So don't get me wrong, you don't need to sit at the back and be completely terrified of doing anything in case you get killed. Sometimes that will happen and there's just nothing you can do about it, but most of the time, you have to play carefully enough that you will be alive as long as possible, so your gun is in the game. So I go to a position early in this game where I know I can hopefully get a free bit of damage. I notice a 62p decides to go up to the ridge instead of staying in the buildings, and I know you can get shots at him from here. So I try and go and take one, and he quickly turns around and points his gun at me. And I think, I'm not going to hang around to see if this guy's going to blind shoot that. I'm going to swiftly bugger off. And I notice that our team over here are engaged with the enemies already. And you'll see that one of our T54 mod 1s realises exactly what I realised quite soon here, which is that we are horribly outgunned. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think there's another one unspotted. So that's 5 tanks against, 3 of us are in these buildings, 2 of which are tier 8s, and the T44-100 is still sniping mid, which is fine. He's playing carefully, he's playing his way. He doesn't need to be here necessarily yet. But what we've learned is they've got more tanks here, and if I sit here in that position, I'll be dead pretty quick. I might keep somebody alive. I might do a couple of shots and delay somebody dying, but I will then be dead. And I'm a top tier tank. I'm a tier 10 tank in a tier 8 game, sitting and throwing my life away because I feel like I should stay and I shouldn't be a coward and run away is a terrible decision for everybody involved, really. Maybe I'll save somebody's life, or maybe I'll delay them dying slightly, but it doesn't mean it's the right decision. So we get the hell out, and I actually leave it a little bit late. You'll see that I'm spotted here, and I'm taking shots already at people. We managed to hit a couple of shots on the Carnarvon on the move because, well, Russia. And we take a little bit of damage on the way back, which is not ideal. I probably could have not shot there, and I probably wouldn't get spotted. But, the time that you decide not to shoot, you get spotted and you take damage anyway. So the first thing that I was intending to do here is sit where that Stritzfarn is behind me, behind the hull down. And then I realised that most of the tanks are actually out of render, so I come out a bit further and I'm quite carefully keeping the enemies outside of the view range circle, but I'm still putting my gun to use because this mod 1 is stuck in a pretty crappy position in the field, but at least he's spotting them and I can do damage safely here. So I'm just slowly whittling down what I can hit, and as soon as I get spotted by this IS-3, and it's probably the full 30 actually, who spots me across there, I'm falling back to where I feel I'm more safe. Now the Stritzvon is got this position, he's got a nice tree covering him, he's having a little picnic. I don't want to disturb him, there's not really space for two of us to play there. So I just improvise his position and I move over to the cover of these buildings in this little cubby that you can sit in. It's not a bad position at all, but once they get out in the field, you'll see that if they had more tanks, I'd be in a bit of a sticky spot. So anyway, as you can see, I've fallen back and I've racked up over 2,000 damage. I've still got most of my hit points, and they can't rush me here. I've got TD and a heavy tank covering me. There's no way they can get close to me without me being able to do a lot of damage to them. So I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to try and give this 430 a bit of a pain to think about. I should have loaded heat to shoot at him here. I think I'd do that now. But hopefully the example I'm trying to make is clear now, that staying in that position would have got me killed. And it probably would have been a less than 1,000 damage game, because those lot would have just rolled over me. But I'm here with a lot more. And without trying to spoil this game too much, you'll see that running from that position and being cowardly at that point might make a bit of a difference to the outcome of this game. So we take out the 430, the 140's pushing in. He's in a pretty nasty crossfire right now. And the damage is just, it's racking up, it's racking up. Don't pay attention to the Mark of Excellence counter. I think I recorded this replay afterwards. This game took me up to something like 92%, so it's actually maybe somewhat accurate. And then I dropped down to below 90 and I yo-yoed for a while. But, that counter is not really relevant at this time. And we have a nice juicy full health STA1. I'm not sure who's spotting him. It must be the T44-100. I've tried to work this out because I can't spot him here because he's outside of my view range, but I'm quite happily just going to keep driving forward, use my DPM, and just take all of his hit points my own. Now, unfortunately, a bit of awareness, and the reason that I'm actually driving down this way is that I see that our heavies are also getting overrun. So it's 10 to 11 now, or 11-11. It's equaled up nicely, but looking at the map, the T44-100 Scorpion G, that's going to be an interesting fight, but the T95 is practically dead, and the Stritzvon's getting out there, as he probably should. He can't really help him in that situation. He can't go into the city, he's just going to get chewed up by these heavies. And the T95, as survivable as that thing is, without a turret, he's not going to survive that. So a bit of awareness. I was thinking about trying to push in to help this T95 and try and find some side shots, but now the Scorpion's there, I know that if I get spotted here and take one from the Scorp, I'm going to be a one shot for everything, and I just want to protect my hit points at this point. Now the STRV's fallen back to cover that road, and I think what he does here is a bit of a mistake. I think he should be out in the field where he's best. He needs to keep them at range where they can't get to him whilst being unspotted, if that's the right thing. And this is what I'm trying to do, because I'm kind of an STRV in this situation, in the sense that I don't have a lot of armor, but what I do have is good penetration and a good gun and a bit of camo as well. So I'm trying to craft myself a little nest, and I also am trying to knock down some of the walls here, because if I want to fire heat, I don't want walls in my way that I have to shoot through, and I make a bit of a mistake by not knocking down the walls in front of me, but we'll see. So we're in a 2v4 right now, and I'm a bit concerned about this STRV. The one thing that I at least am hoping is that he can spot for me, but you can see the 60 TP comes out behind him, and there's nothing I can do to that guy. If I push out here, defender spots me, Scorpion's got a shot on me, I can't do anything. So I just have to sit here and try and do some damage to this defender, and my gun trolls me a little bit. I'm shooting heat, which is pretty bad shell velocity. It drops from 1500 on APCR in this tank to 900, and you can see that the heat is a bit derpy. We managed to pen one shot, and we managed to bounce 330 heat off the front of a tier 8, by the way. Defender, strong tank, but that's okay. So we're now in a 1v4, and the Scorpion gets spotted, and somehow I managed to snipe him with heat. So 1v3, and just remember, you take your mind back to early in this game when I could have sat in that position. I could have stayed there and thought, I can't run away from here, you know. I need to stay, I need to fight. That's not the case. I ran, and I'm reaping the rewards now. So we pick up the STRV. Luckily, I managed to spot him. He's probably using binos, and I don't know whether it was a view range thing or whether I just managed to get an angle on him. So it's now gone from a 1v4 to a 1v2. And I'm a one shot for this 60 TP, and luckily he bounces off my turret. That's heat as well. So I get kind of lucky there, but I was doing a good job of staying hull down. And now we're back to a 1v1, right? And all of a sudden this game is close. So I decide that the worst thing I could possibly do here is approach this 60 TP head on. I need to try and flank him and catch him out, because I'm a one shot for him. I can't go and approach him from the front, because then I'm relying on him basically making a mistake. Because he can take a shot from me, so all he has to do is to wait for me to shoot if I get close, and then he just drives out and shoots me. And he's got a lovely hold down to sit behind from the front, so I decide to go round and flank. And I think, as I peek this corner in a second, which I try and do very slowly and carefully, I think he realises that, because he's turning, and luckily he doesn't quite realise it quick enough because he's turning, and I catch him side on, and I manage to hit a track on him, and I'm trying my best to side scrape here and to get him to shoot and to miss, but he shoots into my tracks. I'm quite lucky that doesn't pen, and then I manage to peek out whilst he's reloading and finish it off and secure the 1v4, which was a nice game. You know, I managed to farm a really good amount of damage there. That's 6,000, no assistance, but you know, I just put my gun to use in that game. So yeah, what I wanted to say, and the point I'm trying to make with that one, is don't be afraid to fall back. You'll farm a lot of damage if you get into the right situation, and possibly you'll come back and win a 1v4 and win your team the game. If I was dead, that wouldn't have happened. So let's jump into the next game. This is the game that I got my third mark of excellence in. I'll talk a little bit about and some of the decisions that I make in that one. It's not quite as dramatic as this one, but it was still a good game, and there's a good ending to it. So let's go. So, from Minsk to Overlord. What a lucky guy I am, eh? So I think in this game I was on about 94.4 or 5. I needed about 6 and a bit K to get the mark in this game. So you know, I knew it could be done, but it was going to have to be a pretty big game to do so. And the first thing I do is I go straight to the middle of this map and I crest the ridge, try and make a spot. We get a nice little snap on the convoy off. And the reason I go to the middle at the beginning of this is because I like to be in a position where I'm going to get pummeled by RT all game. No, I'm kidding. I like to be in a position where I've got shots potentially sort of as wide as I can. I can crest over and shoot people who are in the convoy's position potentially. If there's TDs that get spotted at the back, I can. If anybody crests on the ridge line where the 277's just appeared, then I can also shoot there. And this 277 makes a really aggressive push across, and I think to myself, that's a tasty lot of hit points that I might be able to peek up and farm. But I'm aware that he's got a lot of cover, and I decide to leave him to it for now and try and just get some of the easier damage and hope that my team might be able to deal with him okay. So this VK, he's quite an easy pen for me. I can peek out fairly held down and manage to snap him. I was trying to track him, but his tracks were more covered than I expected, so I just take a shot and get the hell out before I take any more damage. And this game is kind of, I don't know if it's the right way to describe it, is sort of the perfect game. It's not the perfect game for marking, but it's the kind of game you want, in that it's quite slow, people are being a little bit careful, and you have time to make your decisions and work things out. and the damage can rack up slowly without you having to make any stupid aggressive plays. So the 277 leaves that ridge, and I see him driving towards the middle here, so I decide to get out because I don't want to be brawling with him and I don't want to take 500 from him. And just as I expect him to do, he crests up between those houses. So I just take a bit of a wild swing at him, just hoping that he might pen. It doesn't, he misses, I don't take any damage. I see that the Patriot's leaving, and unluckily that one misses. Bit of a snap, but that's kind of what the 140 does. It snapshots everything. But it missed that one on the Patriot, which is a bit of a shame. And I was aware, cresting here so aggressively, or peeking that corner so aggressively, that I was pretty liable to get shot by TDs if there are any in the back. And I see a shell splash next to me. Luckily it doesn't hit me, but I'm aware that I'm taking shots from something, and I don't want to hang around to find out what that is. So I can see that the enemies are pushing up that side of the map, and I realise that I need to try and find a position to cover my team if they get pushed on. So I fall back a ridge, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, to this position here, because I know that the gradient's quite shallow and I can peek up fairly safely and stay hull down. And I think about trying to move up and find an angle on this 277, and I change my mind and I run away again because that 277's got a nice position. This Conway, thank the Lord he didn't come over to shoot me, because I was expecting him to, but he didn't, and he stopped. It gave me time to stop and get a shot into him as he falls back. Now I'm starting to get a little bit concerned at this point, and I guess the point that I'm trying to make maybe with this game is stay patient. It's 3-6 and I'm starting to worry that my team are going to melt and I'm not going to have enough damage. Bearing in mind, like, I'm well aware I can get the mark in this game, but I've stayed patient enough until this 277 makes a mistake and he drives out in the open, and I get a couple of shots into him. I tried to track him, but I wasn't aiming as well as I could have been. But he's taking shots now from the side. He's a one shot. I'm trying to find the angle. Conway crests up again, so I take the easy shot on him, and I think this 277 gets finished off by our Renegade, who also, by the way, I think fell back from earlier in the game, and he's sat at the back now, putting some covering fire across. And to be fair, if he wasn't there, this game might have gone differently, because he picks up a decent couple of kills. So I now see that the Patriot YOLOs over and finishes our last tank there. And I move up to this position because I'm aware that this side is safe, but at least for now, it's sort of safe, and I can just farm this Patriot as he crosses the field. That one misses, which is a bit of a shame. The Conway's up there, and I'm worried he's going to overpeak me as he did to another one of my allies earlier. But luckily he doesn't, and I think I get the spotting on him as... Was it the Renegade killed him? Yeah, the Renegade kills him. I take a couple from the Patriot, but I'm more than happy to sit there and just trade DPM with that guy, because I win every single day of the week. I take a swing at the 140, who's pushing around the outside, and this is where I make a bit of a mistake. So the T30 comes up on the ridge, and the first thing I do, because I do not want to take 750 from that guy, is I shoot his tracks. I want to stop him on that ridge, and I'm playing a bit of a gambling game there, because if he's got a repair kit, he can just repair and track me, or shoot me, sorry. But luckily he doesn't, and he takes quite a few hits back. When I know he's fired, I want to kill him. I want that 750 alpha out of the game, so I make an aggressive peek on him, and I can't get the damaging shot, and I take one from the T28. But luckily, I managed to get away without taking any more, and I get a little bit of spotting and assistance damage in the process. So it's now 9-11 score-wise, and it's starting to get a bit close, but I'm aware that I've done a pretty good job of protecting my hit points, and there might be enough damage left in this for me. I'm trying to find an angle to safely peek that T30, because I know the last thing I want to do, and I don't know where the VK is, but the last thing I want to do is get caught out in a position where I can get hit by him, because that probably means my game is over. So he gets spotted, and I go to peek up like this, and I'm aware the prototype is probably still around, and I could have taken a shot at him here, by the way. Mistake not to. I would have almost certainly got that shot before he reacted, but I decided to play it safe because I know I'm going to get spotted there, and I didn't know where the prototype was looking. I was too concerned about whether the T30 would react and look at me in time. So our IS-7 and ST-1 are heading back, and the IS-7 manages to hit the prototype. I peek up and get a shot into the T30 as well. He realises I'm there. He tries to peek me. I'm probably held down there, but luckily he doesn't get a shot off. I don't manage to kill him. I think the I7 finishes him off, which leaves me free to just drive over and kill the prototype. And now I'm in the perfect position to do a nice load of damage on this prototype and VK, who are just blindly charging our Renegade. And unfortunately, the Renegade goes down here. And he had a really good game. He was in a really good position, and he helped probably us win this game. So I'm in a good position here where I can get another shot into the VK, and the prototype hits me, which is a bit of a surprise. I didn't think he was really paying that much attention to me, but he did manage to get a shot to me, which means that my HP is getting a bit low. And by the way, at this point, I'm at about 94.8, or maybe slightly higher, and I'm looking around and I'm thinking, oh, there's just about enough hit points to this. I could do it here. And then the IS-7 hits the T-28, and at this point, I think, oh, game's gone. I can't do it now. Not enough left. So I drive towards the VK because might as well get the damage right. He bounces on me, I bounce on him because I'm kind of panicking at this point. And I've never been so pleased to be hit by RT in my whole life, by the way, because I forgot he was still alive. And you'll see in chat, if you can read it now, I type, guys, I'm on 94.95. Can I have kill, please? And we spot the RT and we miss. That literally would have been the mark right there. And our IS-7, in a moment, types something back to me. Bearing in mind, I would fully expect these guys usually to just drive forward and take the damage. I was hoping that being a bit faster than both, well, the IS-7 is quite speedy, but I might be able to just get it. And the IS-7 says, take. Wait me, need assist. I didn't actually read that. I think I literally just saw him say take, and I was so focused. And we drive over, we managed to snap the RT, and at this point, I think the mark mod says 95.01 or 02, and I know what the mod can be like, but I was fairly confident. So I say, think that's it, thank you, and with terrible typing, and luckily after checking the game afterwards, I do get the mark. And I sent the IS-7 a thank you message. And I sent him a few boxes as well. Just a few boxes. But he never told me what he got. So if by any chance you're watching this, please tell me that you got a double barrel tank. Let's pull up the stats for the game. And I'll link you to the replay. Okay, so third mark, first class game. I ended up with 5,500 damage, 1,400 assist. Some of that was definitely tracking. That's detection, that's detection. That's detection. That's detection. I'm sure I got some tracking on the T30. Yeah, that was definitely tracking, but it doesn't seem to say that. So, any vehicle spotted? Oh, it just says assistance. It's not very clear which is which, but some of it was definitely tracking. But I think combined it was just under 6.5, which was enough to just tip me over. So big thanks to the IS-7 for letting me have that kill at the end. Very, very kind of him. And props to the Renegade as well. This guy played really well, took a good position, and managed to help us win. And yeah, there we go. That's all she wrote. So pretty dramatic end. That very last shot on the RT was very satisfying, especially as it's an RT. But we did manage to get the mark in that game. So yeah, I'm very happy. Hopefully this has been of some help to some people. If not, hopefully it's just been entertaining. Let me know if it has. Let me know if not. Do all the usual stuff they say. Like, subscribe, do a little dance. I don't know. Something like that. Have a cracking Christmas, everybody. And hopefully see you again soon.